Ba-da-ba-da-ba-ba, everyone. Welcome to the Everything Teams Phone Live show with myself, Rick Garcia with G12 Communications, and Mr.
Brandon Bradley with
Yeah.
G12, obviously. G12 Path to Teams.
That's right. Teams
Good
Phone,
morning,
G12.
good afternoon, and good evening.
There you go. Wherever you are joining us from around the world, it's awesome that they give a platform to crazy people like us to jump on and chat about Microsoft Teams and tell everyone that you need to have Microsoft Teams Phone. It is the beginning. It is the very basics of business productivity. If you're interested in business productivity for your organization, it starts with Microsoft Teams Phone. Let's lower that right there. Okay. We've got a cool show lined up for you today, everyone. This is going to be the show that is probably the biggest show and tell event that we've done in, 13 episodes or so. Every Friday we do this at the beginning of the year we started, and we've got, at least 27 shows mapped out, but this is pretty cool because this is the show and tell event. So this is really, we've got, it's really great for partners out there. So partners, organizations that are looking to understand what Microsoft Teams looks like and how it operates. And then organizations like MSPs that maybe don't specialize in the phone piece. This is, we're here to kind of walk through what the phone stuff does, what Operator Connect is, and how you can use Microsoft Teams Phone in your organization. So let's get started because we typically have, a guest or two join us, and we're not going to do that today because we're going to spend nearly the entire time talking about solutions so that we can help you as an organization understand it. And again, partners help you sell it into organizations that you're working with. Okay, a couple of housekeeping items. Let me share my screen real quick, and we'll knock this out in short order. I'm going to share my screen, entire screen. Let's just do this right here.
Yeah, you have to leave me at least 40 minutes.
Oh man, 40 minutes.
That's the rule today. I get to talk. I get to talk today.
A lot. You're gonna have 54 minutes today. No,
perfect.
Okay, everyone. It's we did this intro stuff already. Oh, real quick announcement. CommsV Next is next week in Denver. If you're in Denver, if you're a Microsoft Teams person, you should totally pop into CommsV Next. It's an awesome show for users by the users so that you can learn more about how to operate in the Microsoft Teams ecosystem. Lots of MVPs are going to be around working through or talking about different aspects of the Teams ecosystem. There's hardware and there's software associated with it. There's just a lot of cool stuff going on at CommsV Next. If you haven't registered, register there. You can go to the CommsV Next website and register. It's in Denver next week. But then shortly after that, you'll see Brandon and I at the Venetian Hotel in Las Vegas, May 2nd through 4th. We'll be at Channel Partners. Again, if you want to understand how you can add Microsoft Teams, both managed and unmanaged, to your practice, see us at Channel Partners.
I'm going to chime in real quick. I don't know if you've been watching the weather forecast for Denver next week, but it might be a little chilly, right? So you're gonna meet Garcia and I in Denver. We'll probably be a little spiffed up, a little more dressy. We've got kind of a real cool event that we're throwing in the evening on Tuesday evening next week.
That's right.
So we might be a little spiffy, and then you're going to see us switch from maybe that cool, chilly, maybe snowing weather here in Denver to Vegas, where we might have to show up in sandals and tank tops because we're not going to be used to that kind of heat. So just throwing that out there.
What I'm hearing is we should do this show poolside in Vegas. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, Mai Tai in hand, and yeah, why not?
All right, everyone. Let's keep on going here. So Channel Partners, we'll see you there. If you have any questions, I'm going to throw the registration link or the book a meeting link. Both Denver, we're kind of packed in Denver. It's a really cool thing. Like as Brendan said, we're throwing a big dinner for a bunch of MVPs. It's going to be a really social night. In fact, it's like the MVP social celebrity night. That's what it's called. Celebrity night. So it's gonna be pretty cool. And Brandon will be spiffed up, not me. I'll be in this t-shirt right here. Okay, let's see here. One more thing. Live from CommsV Next. Yeah, we're doing live from CommsV Next. So we're doing this show next week at CommsV Next from the podcast booth there in Denver. And we're gonna have Tom Morgan on. Tom Morgan, Microsoft MVP, is an expert at customer experience engagement with Microsoft Teams tools, and that includes bots. He is doing an amazing session there, and he is going to do the session with us live on Tuesday. It's going to be at 3 p.m. Mountain Time. Okay, so we'll see you guys there. We'll send out the invite to everybody so you can do that. We're here to talk about Microsoft Teams, and I want to make sure that Brandon has all the time that he needs to show you guys a bunch of cool things and how the Microsoft Teams phone system works. So let's crank away at this slide thing. We're here because Teams is very popular. It's amazing. The numbers are staggering, and how many users are taking Microsoft Teams down from a PSTN perspective or from a dial tone perspective. But more importantly, it's good for your business. And the reason it's good for your business is, number one, there's an overall cost savings component that is available in the Forrester report. We'll put the link up in the Forrester report in our chat in just a bit, but essentially it's cost savings. It's massive, massive, massive productivity gains in your organization. And I don't mean just productivity, like basic productivity. There's just some, okay, you're like, it's a phone system, right, Rick? It's more than a phone system. It is a business operating system. Now you've got a single pane of glass that you're going to operate in, videos, collaboration, chat in your organization. But more importantly now, Azure Communication Services allows you to bring those communications from external sources like websites, right? And bring those right into your Microsoft Teams ecosystem, whether it's a chat, a video, or a call, or a meeting. You'll be able to schedule those things. You'll be able to have those things right in your Teams interface. One more thing I want to say, and then I'm going to hand this over to Brandon, and I'll stop sharing this PowerPoint thing because we have like 77 slides to go through. I'm just kidding, everyone. We're not going to go through 77.
Slideshows are boring.
I'm kidding. Microsoft has come out with this healthcare connect. If you're listening, if you're a healthcare provider, listen to this. This is awesome. They came out with a healthcare connector that brings in their EHR system from both Cerner and Epic, and allows you to do scheduling of not meetings or sessions, but appointments, appointment scheduling right into from your Teams interface right into your EHR system, right? So there's this healthcare connector. Microsoft is going big in the healthcare space, creating just a amazing sort of automation. So if you're a healthcare organization, Microsoft Teams Phone is via Operator Connect is imperative for you to look at. I mean, it's just so super important for you to look at. The one thing that's really important is it sets you up for the future, right? And by that I mean, if you're going to move to a phone system, you're going to move to, there's a few of them out there from a collaboration perspective, but we'll just talk about Microsoft Teams today. But if you're going to move to Microsoft Teams, you're going to be in Microsoft Teams as an organization, and you're going to be able to load in productivity tool after productivity tool, and it's going to create real business benefits for you guys. So, all right, that being said, I think I'm going to stop right there. Brandon has twisted my arm and said, Rick, I need to show everyone. I need to have a massive show and tell, because there's just so many changes that have come out that he needs to have the floor so that he can show our partners and customers and people out there that are interested in Teams. He needs to share them and share with them what's up. Brandon, turn it over to you.
That's right. Yeah, thanks, Rick. So there's so much to show. I could spend days and days probably going over all the cool stuff that Teams is doing. I'm going to do my best to just kind of demonstrate a lot of the features and functionality, and then even some of the new. I'm actually in a Teams preview mode, so I'm going to show you a couple cool features that are coming, assuming that my Teams preview allows me to show that. I do have to put a disclaimer out. Garcia is going to laugh at me, but I'd asked him to, we wanted to get on early this morning and test, some of the stuff that I do want to demonstrate, and obviously time didn't allow it. So here I am, full on panic mode. My computer's not working the way I need it to work. So now next to me, I've got another computer set up. So we're gonna cross our fingers and hope that this demo goes the way that I hope it goes.
The last time we had this, Brandon, it just didn't go so well.
Yeah, I lost the dial pad in the middle of a demo, and I was like, "Oh, this is bad." So let's go ahead and share the screen, and we're gonna, Rick, I'm gonna lean on you to kind of help guide kind of the conversation, as if maybe you're a customer, you're a potential company looking for teams and asking, can it do this, can it do that? And we're just
Yeah,
gonna
absolutely.
we're gonna kind of try to just shoot off the hip on just a real good back and forth conversation to talk through this.
Fortunately, I talk to customers all day, every day, and I know exactly what they ask. So yes, I can help with that.
Okay, so I'm going to share this screen. I'm actually going to push audio through as well, hoping that when I go to demonstrate some things, we can actually interject some of the auto attendant IVR audio into the stream as well. So here we go. Let's get that out of the way. Let's see if we see what we see. Looks like I can see it up on the screen.
There you
So.
go.
As we explore Teams Phone, because that's what this show is all about, I'm going to kind of present it from two different angles. One is going to be kind of traditionally the user view, which is the Teams client with the dial pad and, what they can do kind of in the system from a day-to-day, functionality perspective, along with some of the new features there, but also up and coming what we would traditionally call maybe office managers or supervisors that manage call queues, auto attendants, what they can do now in kind of the Teams client. When I say now, this is the preview version, so these features are coming. But anyone that's interested in this can obviously go into preview mode and they can test it themselves. I'm not going to go into the details on how to get into preview mode, but Microsoft tells you how. So. Garcia, when you talk to customers, what's kind of the basis of the starting point of the conversation? Are they interested in?
I'm gonna I'll just tell you. I'll no need to even ask, because I can tell you exactly what users ask. Okay, so users are used to. You ready for this? Users are still used to, and I think it's about 65 or 70% of the customers out there are still on legacy premise-based phone systems. In fact, they look probably something like this. Hold it. This is what your premise legacy phone system looks like. I think this is what people have out there these days. Still, it's crazy. Toss it out the window. That would break, so let's not do that. Okay. So what they typically ask for are basics, Brandon, like seriously, basics. They're asking for auto attendance, call queues, like call queues. People are like, oh, I was told Microsoft doesn't do call queues or doesn't do hunt groups and things like that. And it's like, are you serious? Like, this is basic stuff. The amount of coolness that the phone system offers is just outrageously over the top, far more features than anyone will ever use. But people are asking about the basics. I've got a Cisco system. Does it do this? So call groups, Brandon, the auto attendance, multi-language auto attendance, right? Multi-level auto attendance, those sorts of things are important for organizations. I'll give you another, some basic stuff. So we're doing a location that's got 77 different locations, and they've got a retail operation, and not every phone belongs to a user. So they're sitting there going, well, we can't have the store on soft phones. It's a store, right? A retail type of location. And they're like, we can't have the PCs up and use a PC as a phone. I'm like, oh, you don't need to use PCs as phones. So to be clear, people can use physical phones with Microsoft Teams Phone, just like a normal phone system. So Brandon, the basics are really something that needs to be communicated to the world.
Yeah. Okay. So let's start with the phone system then. Let's talk about how Microsoft has brought the phone system into their ecosystem, and then kind of just build on top of that and move into maybe the user experience. One of the things I love about the Teams phone system that, maybe companies aren't even thinking about is, if you're already a Microsoft consumer for Microsoft 365 products, the one thing it does do is Microsoft has brought that right into their their suite of administration centers. So you've got Active Directory, you've got the Exchange Mail Admin Center, you've got where you administrate licenses and all of that, and on top of that, then you've got what is called the Teams Admin Center. So that's what you're seeing on my screen right now. Is this is actually their newest refreshed look. I think this just hit. I don't know if it was today or yesterday. It might have been yesterday. I was in here and saw this change. But essentially, it kind of has if anyone's used to a Mitel, a Cisco, it's got a lot of similar navigation types, menu systems and whatnot. But Microsoft has made this just really, really easy to use, almost so intuitive, almost you don't actually have to learn how to use it. I'm saying that's my opinion, but I think there's plenty of people in the space that I talk to each day and each week that tend to agree with me once they've been in and they go, holy smokes, this is so incredibly easy. So when you log in, you're going to end up on a dashboard, and they give you a dashboard for basic troubleshooting. If the admin is going, this, I got to figure out a call queue, or I got to figure out call forwarding, or I got a user's missing their dial pad, they can come in and they can just click on the diagnostics, and there's a wizard that walks them through who's the user, what's the phone number, and it goes out and it runs the diagnostics and starts to direct the Teams phone admin towards the section of the phone system or towards the config that they need to look at for diagnostic purposes.
Man, that's cool.
You can get utilization reports. Again, we could probably spend the whole time just talking about the dashboard, but I'll move on.
One of the things that people don't know that you take for granted, because we've used Teams for years and years and years. One of the things that is interesting for organizations to see, it's going to be the Teams, just the basic admin, the Teams, not even the admin, sorry, the Teams phone, right? So the soft phone, the interface. You may not be a Teams user today, and you may be wanting to adopt Microsoft Teams, not just Teams phone, but Teams in your organization. And the Teams panel is quite, the feature rich. It looks plain and simple when you look at it. It looks plain and simple, but there's a lot of things going on in that panel, Brandon. Can we just start with that? Let's just go through as technical people, as technical folks, we just sit here and we kind of look at this stuff, and it's like Teams interface. Well, everybody knows the Teams interface, right? Not everybody does know the Teams interface, particularly when it comes to the phone piece. So maybe we can just show a Teams interface and start with the Teams interface for the end user and take it from there.
Okay. Yeah. So from a client perspective, maybe it's beneficial if I go full screen just to
there you go.
The viewers can see it. A lot of people may or may not be familiar with Teams traditionally as a collaboration tool, where it's chatting back and forth and sharing screenshots, sharing files, links, etc. But this is kind of probably the bread and butter of Teams, right? Is this whole ecosystem of I need to collaborate, I need to chat with people, and the ability to communicate with them just real time, instantaneously, followed by the whole idea of Teams based channels where you can begin to organize projects. You can tie to file systems that are automatically linked up to SharePoint, so that you can design your compliance policies around how you secure documents, how you govern who has access and control to them, or can view or can edit, and they bring that all into this single pane of glass. You can collaborate inside of these teams. You can create channels. You can drive projects. You can have project boards. You can do milestones. You can set tasks for people. I haven't spent time building that out for these kind of demos, right? Because our focus is more on Teams phone. But this really, I've said to even you, Garcia, that there's a couple things that if Microsoft brought it into Teams, I would probably spend a good majority of my day just in Teams, because I'd have all the tools at my fingertips to just live in this unified ecosystem, just collaborating all day long with people.
Yeah. Let's show the phone. Let's just show the phone piece, because there's a lot of pieces in just the phone piece. That so if I wanted to dial from a different number, Brandon.
I mean, yeah. So that's going to go back into the phone system a little bit, but you've got under your calling tab, you've got the dial pad, and this dial pad is only going to show up if the user is licensed and configured with, the team's phone system, and then has an active phone number. So, here you can see my work number is the 720-664 number. That's the number that by default I'm gonna make an outbound call on. Now, if you've got like a support group or a sales channel or any kind of group where you want to have maybe what I would consider a shared line appearance, where I can source that call back out, I'll call. Let's see, I'll call a number here. I should be using my keypad because it's easier, but oh well. So before I hit dial, right, if I just hit call, I'm going to source from my 720 number. But if I'm a user that's been assigned to certain call queues, the administrator of the phone system can say, hey, these users are also allowed to source from other numbers. Now, this naming that you see here, that's the name that sits in the team's phone system from the administration perspective. You have full control over how you want to name these. But you notice as I hover over, you'll see that phone number pop up, 206-649. So you can see that's the number. If I click on that, I'm going to source from that number. Or from the main account, I'm going to source from the toll-free 866-441. And again, that's because I, as a user, I'm assigned to those call queues. So I'm allowed to then source calls back out from that shared line appearance. So it really brings some what I'll call basic contact center functionality, or even basic business practice functionality to the end user from a phone system perspective, where you might want to always call from a sales line when you're dealing with sales account work, and you might always want to call from a support line when you're dealing with customer support.
What about 911, Brandon? Show me where the 911 stuff is at. I'm an end user now. Actually, we should talk about that on 4.2 or 4.4 or 4.1. I don't remember what day it was, but Microsoft released a new organizations. If you're not RABOM compliant, that's 911 stuff, right? This helps you become RABOM compliant as an organization. Brandon, show them where they can update the 911 location right at the end user.
Yeah, and this is going to be interesting because here's a demo challenge. So down here, you'll see that I've got this address sitting in my pre-provisioned in my team. So there's something I want to call out here. So you can see my emergency location is set to work. So what that means is the company that I'm working for has defined a policy that's looking at where my team's client is registering from, and it's detecting that I'm in a location that the company is holding the address for. So they might have this policy set where if I'm on premise, I can't actually set the location. The company, the corporate policy is setting the address for me. Okay. So in order to change this, I need to go into a roaming mode to show the that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually connect and let's see, can you take my screen off the presentation for a second?
Yeah, I can stop the share on that thing.
I would do it myself, but I'm not logged in. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to connect to a VPN, and I'm going to relaunch the Teams client so that I can show the RABOM aspect of what you're talking about, where it brings RABOM compliance to the fingertip of the user and allows the user that full control over the location information.
All right. While you do that, I'm going to show my screen again, and I'm going to show a couple of things that are pretty interesting. So there's a Forrester report that came out, and that's going to talk about this is not the Forrester report. This came out from London about a month ago. There was a big telecom sort of gathering. There's a group out there called Cavell Group. Cavell, thank you very much. I basically have stolen this from you guys. I'm sure with all the permissions in the world that I've asked for. I'm kidding. And so here is some information of what organizations are looking for in the next 3 years in their communication priorities, right? So it's prioritized by company size. So 0 to 50, 50 to 250, and then 250 plus. We're going to focus on this 250 plus because this is the interesting piece. So Obviously, everyone wants good customer service, better customer service, better customer service. Everyone wants better customer service, but people want to be able to contract and expand easily, right? And this is what Microsoft provides. And I mean, obviously, you saw the panel being able to add users in your AD group. It's super simple to add and scale down as needed, right? Improve business continuity and disaster recovery and security. Well, by default, Microsoft is all built on Azure. It's all built on the same sort of secure infrastructure. And the business continuity is provided in several different ways, right? Microsoft provides SLAs. Here's one that someone didn't know that we've spoke to recently, that we've had a discussion with recently. They've been telling everyone that Microsoft Teams doesn't have SLAs. That is 100% false. Microsoft Teams has an SLA out. It's 4 nines as an example, which is something like 53 minutes of downtime a year. And we have contracts in place with as an operator connect provider where we have to basically keep up that level of infrastructure or that level of
we extend the SLA to
we
the
have to extend
PSTN.
it. Exactly. Thank you. And so the benefit here is that in order to achieve that with Microsoft, we've had to do physical connectivity into Microsoft Teams. So so when you're talking about the difference between some of the direct routing and operator connect providers, well, direct routing is an SBC, whether the SBC is hosted in a data center or whether it's right next to your PBX on your facility, doesn't matter. That's usually going through the public internet. Whereas, as an OC provider, we are physically tied to Microsoft Teams. And then better analytics and automation of customer journey. So Brandon, you tell me when you're ready and I'll stop talking.
I'm ready, man.
You're ready. So better analytics and automation of the customer journey. And that is something that's really important to organizations. What's cool about Microsoft Teams, and Brandon could probably show you this, is that there are templates, not just to show you the phone usage, but there are templates here to show you the behavior of, number one, Teams users, number two, customers as they come into your flow, into your either auto attendant or call queue workflow. You like that? There are stats to give you that information so that you can determine if your experience that you're creating is good for your client. You may think it's sales, support, repair, or whatever it may be, right? But now you get the opportunity to really see where people, where they flow from an auto attendant perspective. And that's cool reporting. Okay, I'll stop sharing. Brandon, are you up? Here you go. Add to stream.
Yeah, throw me back up there.
There you go.
It really was like just a 15-second thing I needed to do just to get, speaking of coming back to 911, our listeners like, man, these guys are like.
I was too quiet for too long. I had to say something.
Squirrels on Red Bull. But what I did is I just essentially put my laptop into what I would consider kind of a roaming mode. So now what you can see is this location is not detected. It looks like my screen is maybe locked up on the it's locked up on the. You're not seeing my mouse move, are you?
I could see your little arrow there. So
okay, there, it's back. Yep. Okay, so yeah, my location is not detected now. So this is something that you, Rick, and I, we've had conversations over the last few weeks with multiple clients and potential clients where this was probably one of their biggest concerns was, how do I give my users compliance? And so what I'm just going to show you is, let's just assume, I'm located here in Denver. Let's assume that I left the office and I just powered back on and I'm sitting at a Starbucks in downtown Denver. So what Teams is going to try to do is they are going to try to detect a location and suggest a location to you. They're not always going to be able to do that depending on, IP tagging and geotagging that's going on with that source IP address. Nonetheless, the functionality is still going to be the same, where you can either edit or you can add an address. So what I'm going to do, this is the newest feature from Microsoft, where now they're going to let me search pre-validated addresses that will guarantee that 911. So I'm going to search for a location, and I'm going to search for the 7990 East 49th. I have no idea where this is at in Denver. It's just a Denver address, but this is Starbucks in case you're curious. Denver CO. Watch, I picked an address they won't find. 8023 Doesn't look like they're going to find that. Oh, the other thing that I found is this is based on, I believe, the Microsoft mapping, Bing map, or whatever their mapping system is. And they sometimes are very particular about address.
I don't think it's going to work out. I look at that and I go, I don't think it's going to show right now, Brandon, because I don't know if this is active stuff. But if you just type in my address, if you go 3318, you would think that it would start to populate 259th place. You'd think that it would. I probably shouldn't say that online here. 259th place.
Here, I'll put in a known address.
You'd think that it'd pop up a bunch of different different options in there as you're going along, and I think it does.
This is the demo. This is the part of the demo that just doesn't want to work. This should be finding an address.
Yeah. So the end result is basically the gist of this is that when you click on this button, and if your permissions allow you to do this in the dial policy, there you go.
There we go. I think Teams was not done doing their geolocation, because now you can see it's putting me at what they think is the address I'm at, which is not even close to where I'm at. So now you see how they're very particular about how they spell everything out. So let's say I'm visiting, I think Comcast is somewhere in this area. So let's say I'm visiting, let's get the Comcast address. No, I'm wasting time here, but
no, it's all right. So I'll just explain. I mean, this is basically in the window. It allows your end users that are external, right, that are either, that are out of the office, to update their 911 address, and it's going to present to them, like Brandon said, pre-validated locations. There you go, pre-validated locations, so that it is a place where the authorities know to go. Right. So this makes you RABOM compliant in that you're providing the ability for end users to update their address information and provide them the security of a 911 call.
Yep. So I just updated the location for, say I'm visiting Comcast on business, which they're somewhere in this area. So I can confirm that. And now that is a pre-validated address for 911, right? So if I dial 911, that's going to route to the PSTas that is responsible for that address.
There you go. Yeah.
And it's again, it's on the fly as you move locations.
So you've got the drop downs to source the call from different numbers. If you're part of groups, you've got the 911 information down there to change. You've got your call history in the middle section there, right? Your call history that can be sorted in any way that you're looking for, right? Sorted all sorts of ways. Speed dials, you got your speed dials in there, so lots of stuff to add in there if you want to have speed dials in there. What else? I mean, that's a pretty comprehensive interface when you're talking about all of Microsoft Teams phone. There's a lot of things going on in here that at first glance it doesn't seem like there's that much stuff going on there, but there actually is. What about the 3 buttons when you see a call? I love this piece. I mean, this is super simple to call people back. If you just look in your call history, you click over and you can call them back. You can add them as a contact, add them to speed dial. You can block that number. Lots of different options just right in the interface.
I mean, I've already got your number blocked.
That's good.
That's why you can never get a hold of me.
Most people do. Fiance included. She's got me blocked. She unsubscribed from me already.
I want to call out a couple other things that, again, for maybe larger organizations or, maybe even small companies need this, is there's a couple other things you can do where you can do shared line, where I can share my line with another user so that if I'm busy, that person can answer the call on my behalf. So the call's coming into my number here, but this user is answering. So do me a favor, Rick, and pull up your cell phone if you don't mind, or you could be your office phone, and dial the 720 number. And I'm actually going to answer it. I'm going to put myself into do not disturb. So I don't want to get a call right now, but I've got another user supporting me. So when you dial 720-664, you should pop right in. You're probably going to get dual audio.
What's the next number? 720-664.
4742. I'm going to start getting lots of spam. All the people out watching this use this number to sign up for things. Okay, so I'm not getting the call, but OC user 2 that's supporting me is getting the call. So I'm going to answer that, and I'm going to mute it.
Oh, you're not. Hang on a second. That's cool.
Yep. So leave that call up. Now you see how OC user is now on a call on my behalf. I've answered it. And, I, as the user, I'm busy. Maybe I'm helping another customer. Maybe I've stepped out for a minute. And now what can happen is I'm going to park your call as the other caller. So I'm going to just go ahead and say, you know what? I'm going to park this call. So I've told you, hey, or, this user's told you, hey, let me go grab the person you're trying to contact. Now, you should be hearing music on hold at this point.
I do.
Okay. So what you can't see is I've been given on this other user, I've been given a park code. So what I'm going to do on this other user is I'm just going to chat up. I'm going to chat up my coworker and say, hey, I have sorry.
Man, that's cool. You answered on behalf of someone else. I didn't even see how you did that, man. That's see, this is why we do these things, because I get to see stuff that's cool all day, every day.
Yep. So I OC user 2 who answered your call just sent me a message, says, hey, I have Rick Garcia calling for you. I haven't parked at code 104. Okay.
OC user 2 is going to say unsubscribe.
Yeah. Yep. So now that call is out. OC user is available again to take other phone calls because Rick Garcia is parked in a call park. Now, as if I say, great, thanks, I respond back, and then I can come back to my dial pad, and you can see this button right below my dial pad that shows parked calls. Again, reminding our listeners that this entire time the person who's called in is just listening to music on hold. It can be custom, it can be default. The admin, the team's phone can be set up to do any kind of behavior from an on-hold perspective that you desire. So I'm going to retrieve that. The other caller told me it was code 104, so I'm just going to enter 104. Again, I clicked park calls, and I'm going to pick that call up. Now I'm going to mute this, and I'm going to unmute the other one, and I'm going to see if we can actually talk.
All right.
So here we go. Let's see.
I can hear you, Brandon. Can you hear me? I just turned my mute off. Oh, I don't know. I know I can hear you.
All right. I don't think.
Oh yeah. See, that was different. So I heard you going through the PC audio versus that mic, because I heard the mic pick up and it sounds different. So, but I heard you going through the PC. Could you hear me?
No, I don't hear you on the meeting. I can hear you on my call, but
all right, there we go. I'm in that call.
Yep. So
that's cool.
Yeah, that's ooh, now I'm getting hold on just a second.
That's a cool feature. I miss, Brandon, how you pick that up. So this is important stuff. See, as basic as this is, picking up a shared line appearance call is something that customers ask for, and it's something that's out there. So where did you grab that from?
Let me demonstrate by I'm just gonna call a number because I want to see now. I want to show you how I also parked that call.
Okay.
So that you can see it all the way through. So I'm going to accept that call. I'm going to mute. So I've got the call active, and let's say I decide I need to park it and transfer it to you. I'm going to, on my active call screen, I'm going to hit the more options. And again, we can get into recording, transcription, text, real-time captions, TTY stuff. But here, I can transfer the call to you. I can consult and transfer, or I can simply just park that call. So I'm going to click park call. It's going to park the call. And then it's going to give me a share code, 105. I can copy that code if I need to. And then once that call is parked, I can exit that call. And you'll notice in my call history as well, there's still a parked call. I can dismiss that if I want. If I've shared the code with you, I can dismiss that and it's gone.
Wow.
Now to retrieve it, again, below my dial pad is the parked calls. right? So I'm going to click on park call. I'm going to put 105 in, and I'm going to pick that call back up. Again,
Man, that's cool.
The caller's hearing music on hold at this point.
I can't tell you how many organizations that I know seriously that park a call and then run down the hall and go, "Are you want to take this call?" and then come back to their chair. And like seriously, like it's crazy how archaic some organizations' communications platforms are. But this is super cool. I mean, you put somebody on park, you get a code, you text the code over, you share the code over to them in chat, and you wait for that call to pop away. That's pretty awesome. Like what a cool see, and that's one of the basic features I'm talking about. That's basic, but it's so prevalent in physical phone systems out there that people go, I don't think Microsoft Teams can do that. Yes, it can. So, all right, that's cool. We should probably pop over to the admin panel. Let's show them the call groups or the auto attendant stuff. I think that's pretty awesome. From an admin perspective.
I'll definitely want to kind of demo that auto attendant flow as well, because there's a couple things that we get asked about all the time from a auto attendant call queue perspective. Again, I'm just going to briefly touch on it. I know we're already 40 minutes into this call, but one of the cool things about the Teams phone system is there's really no need to, what I'd call dual provision users like a traditional phone system is going to require, right? So you're going to onboard someone, you're going to give them access to Microsoft Office 365. They're going to have their email address. And then traditionally, you're going to have to pivot. Someone's going to have to pivot and create that user in a phone system and set them up. Whereas we're just, in Teams phone system, we're already syncing the users because they're a part of the same ecosystem now. So now I've just eliminated all the time that we're going to spend as a company to dual provision, all the time that it's going to take to do extension-based mapping and figuring out, who has overlap or where there's overlap for extensions. Microsoft handles that in an automated fashion. There's no work for me to do. This will be saved. This will be saved online, right, Garcia? Up on YouTube, you can share the link.
YouTube, it'll be on YouTube and LinkedIn.
Okay. So what I like about the phone system is it's a single pane of glass for managing your entire corporate policy around users and who has permissions to what, who can do what, and who can access what. And then kind of, there's a bunch of other features in here around, the Teams client and what they're allowed to do, whether sharing files, chatting, whatever. But what we're here to talk about is this voice section, where from a phone number perspective, you can manage and keep track of your number inventory. You can see what carrier it is. Again, this is for Operator Connect specific and Microsoft calling plans. This is not direct routing. This feature is not a part of the direct routing ecosystem. You can control call policies. So as an example, what you'll see when we do an auto attendant demo is I'm also doing a screen pop. So as a call center, I'm a call center agent receiving a call for support. I'm going to get a screen pop that takes me into the CRM, the ticketing system that allows me to key off that caller to see if they have an existing ticket or ask them if they need a new ticket. So all kinds of calling policies here, down to your 911 emergency policies, voicemail policies, and then down into kind of where we want to talk, and that's the auto attendant. And to Rick, to your comment earlier, I know I've heard this is, we just don't believe, or actually it's more the leadership of the company doesn't necessarily believe that Teams is a phone system, right? We just heard that this morning on a call where, hey, our CIO isn't convinced that Teams is the end all phone system. He just doesn't think it can be done. Here, I'm telling you, in this auto attendant call queue setup, I've seen it do anything and everything that you would expect an auto attendant to do. So we're going to pick on the main auto attendant. Again, Microsoft has made this super intuitive, super easy to set up, right? They're just going to walk you through what I call a build wizard, where you're going to assign, this number is going to get auto assigned based on a resource account that we'll get to here in a second. but you're going to decide how you want an operator to be set up, how you want to handle the incoming call, whether you want it to be some other system that handles the initial part of the call or not. In this case, this is our main auto attendant, so we don't want an operator here. We're going to set our time zone for our hours of operation for the business, what language we want to be default, and then whether callers can do interactive voice prompting to do like call by name or talk their way through the IVR versus, pressing digits through the IVR. And again, it's that simple, wizard, click to the next. So now we begin building the call flow. How do we want to greet our callers? So I've set up a greeting. I'm going to actually call into this here in a bit so we can hear the greeting. So this greeting that I've set up here is exactly what's going to get. This text to speech is going to get spoken back to me when I call in. So, thank you for calling G12 Communications, where we provide yada, yada, yada. And then once that's read off, it's going to move down to how do we want to route that call? In this case, I want to do an interactive IVR. So I'm going to say for sales, please press 1 or say sales. For 2, support. Press 2 or say support. And then I've set up a third option for everything Teams Phone Live, press 3 or say Teams Phone to be connected. So we're going to attempt to dial into the Teams Phone Live show. And then
take live questions on instead of on Teams or on LinkedIn, we'll take live questions on a phone call, like a radio show.
Yep. And actually, what I'm going to do is I will stop sharing here, and I'm going to reshare with audio because I may have forgotten to share with audio, but we'll do that when I get to the demo. And then you're going to build out your key out. So notice your dial key 1, 2, 3, and then your voice command that goes with it, right? So it's exactly what I just typed up above. Press 1 or say sales, support, Teams Phone, and then where am I sending the call? An important thing to call out here is voice app is what you use to tie to resource accounts that tie back to other auto attendants or call queues. You obviously can send it to voicemail for shared voicemail box. You can send it to a PSTN off-net number. You can send it to an announcement. Let's say, you live in an area where maybe a hurricane or a tornado is coming in and you need to quickly place an emergency announcement on your business hours. You can just route a call directly to the announcement to say, hey, we're closed due to an emergency. You can do that in an audio file, or you can actually type in the message that you need to put in. And then lastly on this screen, are you going to allow directory search? So when a caller comes in, can they say, hey, I want to talk to Rick Garcia? You can allow that or not. Right now I have that allowed. We're going to move on to the next screen. Here's where you set up your hours of operation. The way I have this set up is, if this is G12 Communications, we're a 24-hour company. So I've set this 7 days a week to 24/7, and I'll control the hours of operation by business unit as we go through the call flow. So maybe my sales is only available, 9 to 3 because they
we got to get out early and get to happy hour.
Got to get to that golf, but my support might be different hours, or my, engineering teams or my product teams may have like 8 to 5. In the case that I'm going to show is I've set up option 3 is only for our live show. So it's only available Fridays from noon to 1 Pacific. Outside of that, it's not going to allow you to complete the call on option 3. And then how you set up after hours and what to do from that perspective. So we'll move on. Same thing with holidays, right? I can set up my holidays to automatically handle the call based on the day, based on what holiday it is. However, you're going to adjust your hours around that. And I'm trying to speed up because we are running out of time. How I want to route calls, whether it's online users or all online users, or I want to customize specifically who's going to get those calls when the call comes in, meaning when it matches route to those users, not that this is the specific user is going to get it, just how it's going to route to those users. And then the resource account, remember I had stated earlier, this is where the phone number gets tied to, is that resource account. And if you remember, this is the resource account that my user can source from if he's assigned to this auto attendant or a call queue within this auto attendant. A new feature that people may not have seen, this is what allows me to authorize an end user to become what I'll call a supervisor of the auto attendant. So they can actually come into their teams. Let me find teams. And they can go to since I've authorized this user, they can go to their call settings and they can come down to call queue or auto attendant, and they can begin to manage
the greetings,
the greetings. And so they can very quickly change things if something's wrong or if something needs to be updated, or you're updating your business practice. It's all can now be done. Again, this feature is coming soon to everybody. It's available in the preview version today.
I thought it's GA already. Is it not GA already?
There is a portion of it that is GA, but essentially that portion just allows users to go take themselves in and out of queue.
Gotcha. This is huge. I mean, let me just, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but this is huge because basically if you have an organization that's, call it 400 locations across the country or 75 locations across the country, and you don't want or your admins, don't want to always, open a support ticket with your company admin to make a greetings change for, let's say, inclement weather. Right? Like that's a big one. Inclement weather is one that, people change greetings for. We're closed for inclement weather. We're closed for this or whatever it may be. Giving, and this is really specific for me as an example, working with this organization that's got, I don't know, I think it's like 70 something locations. But basically, you look at that and you go, now every store manager, as an example, could take on their own greetings and make their own changes to just the greeting, not changing anything else, not changing policy or anything like that. You're literally going, hey, we're going to change this greeting and say, we're closed today, inclement weather, we're sorry, we're going to miss you, but whatever, so you can update those greetings in call groups. And that's delegating that power without having to be the full Teams admin, global Teams admin, phone team, without having to, so you can delegate that out to the users. I can't tell you that's probably going to help, I don't know, 20 or 30 organizations that I can think of off the top of my head that have distributed workforces.
And again, it's on a per auto attendant and per call queue basis. So, I've added this user to the main auto attendant. That doesn't mean that user necessarily has access to modify any other auto attendant that's underneath the main auto attendant unless they're granted that control at that hierarchy. So we'll move on to call queues, and then I'm going to try to make a quick test call, because what I've done in this demo is I've tied. I'll go back to auto attendants real quick. I've tied the main auto attendant to another auto attendant, like this one, everything Teams Phone Live auto attendant, and just to show that I'm doing an after hours. I need to look at my other screen. My mouse is all over the place. Let me go next. So I'm customizing the hours of operation now by the way I'm branching out my auto attendant. So as an example, this one, I was testing it, so I can remove this. I only want this to be available while we're live, right? So 12 to 1 Pacific. So that's this option 3 auto attendant is only going to be routable during those hours. And then from there, I've tied that auto attendant to a call queue that allows me to distribute that call based on policy. So if we find the everything Teams Phone Live call queue, now what I can do is I can set up, again, basic greetings if I need to, or default music while we do an agent hunt. And then I can get into, how do I want to find the agents? Do I want to, blast every agent with the same phone call? Do I want to unlock?
I lost your audio, Brandon.
I think I hiccuped there.
Yeah.
So based on presence now, if I set myself in do not disturb, I can key off of that on the Teams client. So if I put myself in do not disturb and a call comes in, it's not going to present that call to me as an agent. So lots of different rules you can do as far as how, and then how you handle overflow, how you handle timeout. Again, this is all very intuitive to set up. They do a good job. Microsoft does a good job of explaining it in a blurb, and then you can always click learn more if you want their detailed outline on what to do. So I don't know if you had anything, but I was going to say, let's do a quick demonstration, because we're down to the wire here. So I'm going to stop sharing really quick just to reshare so that I can make sure that the audio is being presented. So let's present. I'm going to unmute for a second.
I'll take control now. No, I'm just kidding. You're sharing the audio? Good to go?
Here we go.
Check. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Share audio. Okay, I'm trying to keep myself muted so we don't get a bunch of feedback on the meeting, on our webinar, I mean. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually call this 800 number, and I'm going to attempt to do this without blasting my own ears out.
Oh, you can play the audio?
Yep. You'll have to let me know if this works or not.
Yeah, good luck. Let's see. I got audio. I got the ring back.
Or the IVR.
Thank you for calling G12 Communications, where we provide purpose-built solutions and services that enable you to successfully move through your digital transformation journey. For sales, please press 1 or say sales to speak to a G12 sales representative. For support, please press 2 or say support to speak to a support representative. For everything Teams Phone Live, press 3 or say Teams Phone to be connected to join Rick and Brandon live.
Teams Phone. I don't know if my microphone is working.
Teams Phone.
Said EY Carmen. Is that correct? The selection was not valid. Please tell me the option you want to choose again. I think
Teams Phone.
Carmen. Is that correct?
No.
Say yes or no. Okay. Did you say back?
Yes.
Say yes or no, or press for sales. Please press 1 or say sales to speak to a G12 sales representative. You have reached the Everything Teams Phone live show with Rick and Brandon. Please hold while we bridge you onto the show. Please hold while we connect you to Rick and Brandon.
Oh, that's cool.
Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go available, and you're going to see a screen pop up that shows the call is coming from a call queue into the Everything Teams call queue. Here we go. So you see that right there. Everything Teams. So here comes my screen pop. All right, now Garcia, I gotta confirm. Can you still hear me?
I can hear your. Well, I can hear I don't hear the whole music anymore, but I hear your screen. I see your screen pop, and I hear you.
Yep. So I've muted that call for a moment just so you can see. I want to call out. You can see that this is the caller, right? Don't confuse that for me as a person presenting, but this is the caller calling in based on the caller ID that I got on the call, and it's coming in from this call queue, Everything Teams Phone call queue, right? So now the user knows where this call is coming from, so they know how to handle or answer or however they're scripting that experience for the caller. And then on top of that, based on those rules, that call comes in, I get a screen pop. Again, I'm using Zendesk as the example. You can literally program in anything you want for your screen pop, and then pass a variable down to do, like in this case, I'm passing the caller's number down so that I can pull a record based on the phone number. And then from there, I can see whether there's a ticket or not, or, I know now how to go assist that customer. Again, we can do recording, transcription, all kinds of stuff.
There's a whole bunch of that stuff. And we just scratched a little bit of the surface and just kind of went deep on a few things so that you can understand the basics of what Microsoft Teams can do. And I appreciate Brandon digging into a couple of topics really deeply to show all the watchers and viewers what Microsoft Teams can do on a very basic level. The complex stuff is where it gets really, really fun. I mean, the recording, the recording and the storage of the recording in your own tenant, the transcription of every single call so that you could then use AI as an example to go source or to go pull out information that's important from a call perspective, maybe start to gauge sentiment as an example. There's so many options in Microsoft Teams that they're addressing things at the most at a rapid pace, like the most rapid pace of featured rollouts that I've ever seen in the phone business. I've been in this business for 25 years or so now, and watching Microsoft pump out feature after feature after feature. And then we haven't even covered the MTRs. And just as if you're a viewer, what's MTR? It's the meeting rooms, right? The Microsoft Teams meeting rooms. We haven't even covered or scratched the surface of the Microsoft Teams meeting rooms, which invariably is just going to be involved with nearly every customer that you deploy. It circles back around and says, oh, I've got some meeting room stuff. Can I get this? Can I get that? How does this work? How does that work? And being able to control those meeting rooms with panels and new technology, but new panels that are coming out, new screens and things like that. It's just an amazing sort of world right now in the transition to Microsoft Teams Phone for organizations. And it is a transition that is taking place. If you are not thinking about Microsoft Teams right now as a phone system, you really should be, unless you're a very, very small business, a micro business as an example. But if you are a business of 20 users or 10 users and above, the reality is that the feature set inside Microsoft Teams will allow you to do tremendous things with your business, whether it's drive profitability, create additional resources for additional headcount as an example. But there's so much that can be done, and it gets really, really exciting. And we're just a huge proponent of Microsoft Teams as the phone system. So if you have any questions, I did put the meeting link in the chat here. You can book a meeting with us. Obviously, I said this is for Vegas, but you can book a meeting with us for anything. If you want to learn more about Microsoft Teams Phone, you're welcome to hop in and schedule a time with us to chat about Microsoft Teams Phone. We breathe, eat, and drink this stuff all day, every day, inside nearly every customer scenario you can think of. And it becomes really fun creating solutions for organizations that really, really love it. So, Brandon, any final words as we...
Yeah, I mean, obviously that demo was all over the place a little bit, but it's because there's so much information that can be shared and so much flexibility, so much power on this platform that, again, we could spend hours talking about just auto attendant call queue functionality. So back to your point, use that link and schedule a meeting if you want to know more. I'm always happy to get on a call and do demonstrations and show you what cool features are out there.
All right, Joseph, thanks so much. We look forward to catching you live and in person as well in Denver. Everyone, thanks for joining us during this West Coast lunchtime, so Pacific time lunchtime. Hope you had something to eat while you were looking at some Microsoft Teams stuff. As always, thanks so much for joining us, and we will catch you later. Signing off for Everything Teams Phone Live, Rick and Brandon. We'll see you later.
Have a great weekend.
Oh, there you go. Good one.